Welcome, everyone, to Guaco Taco. Let's get a round of applause, first of all, for Guaco Taco for hosting us tonight. Let's hear it for them. Come on, we can get a better response from you guys than that. There's a lot of baseball players out here. I know I've heard from the dugout a lot more noise than that. So one more time for Guaco Taco. Let them hear you inside.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, we want to thank, again, Guaco Taco for hosting us tonight. Want to welcome Coach Grissom. I'm joined also by Martin Cano as a co-host tonight. How are you, Martin?
I'm good, Chuck. Great to be here.
Coach, how are you?
We're good. Thanks, Chuck.
And we want to also thank Rich Hensley, an old-time Leander line, lifetime line.
Absolutely.
Comes back and produces podcasts for me when I call him in a pinch.
I really want Rich to drop some. He's ready to drop some beats or something on the turntable.
You know he's got a whole bunch of them. He just doesn't let you hear all of them. So he actually did the intro for our podcast for football a couple years ago, but I lost my copy of that. Been through a few laptops since then. But, you know, this is the basically the mid-season show. I believe we still have one more game in the first half of the season, correct?
That's correct.
And that is this Friday we take on the Eastview Patriots.
That's right. Yep, Georgetown Eastview.
So give us your thoughts a little bit about Eastview.
Well, you know, they're sneaky good. They beat Georgetown High, and it was really kind of a, you know, they kind of put it on them pretty good. I think it was 5-2, 5-3. They've been kind of up and down in results, but we know that, you know, their top 5 or 6 hitters are, you know, guys that can hurt you, and they've got a couple guys on the mound that, you know, they're sneaky good, and, you know, they're the kind of team that you're going to look up and it's going to be the 5th inning and it's 2-2.
Well, and we kind of ran up against a team like that here recently in Liberty Hill.
Sure. And, you know, you start going, oh, we'll win this one and we can get that one, and we do, you know, start doing that, and that's a trap you'll fall into.
Recipe for disaster in this district,
no doubt, in this district for sure.
One game at a time.
No doubt, and it's an oldie but a goodie for sure, because it is true, and the boys have done a really good job of that, understanding, like, you know, they don't really talk too much about what's next on the schedule or looking past anybody or any of that for sure.
Well, and one thing I will say for this team is, you know, I kind of call them the cardiac kids. That, you know, they play to the very last strike, that very last out, and many of the games have been tight, but they've shown a lot of resilience late and made big plays.
You know, the resiliency is something that sure does jump out at you with our team, and our ability to, you know, we talk about win this pitch, you know, win this at bat, and then, you know, win this inning. And if we can win this inning, if every inning is a game itself, and you're trying to win it by innings, you're gonna, you know, that's a recipe for success. When you start looking at the totality, you know, the totalness of the game, sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. So
yeah, you have to kind of drill down into matchups.
Sure.
And you know, that is a thing that you see all the time that, you know, many times doesn't work out in your favor when you think something's going to work out one way, but it doesn't. And there's been a lot of success this year. You know, there've been a lot of decisions where, you know, there was plays at the plate where you send runners and they were safe, but it was close play.
Sure.
You know, where in years past that might not have worked out, but numbers kind of do that over time.
No doubt. You know, probabilities, how many outs there are in the inning, or the situation that comes up. We have a couple runs on the board already that we can take a chance, or, you know, or is it a tight game and you might want to be a little bit more conservative. So the game dictates a lot of that kind of stuff. So, and the guys are learning that, and they know it. They understand it.
Now, you know, comparing this team to teams in the past, you know, you didn't have a whole lot of first pitch hitters on past teams, but this team seems to be loaded with guys that swing at that first pitch, and they've had quite a bit of success.
We try to hunt the fastball. They probably get tired of hearing about it. And, you know, you know, one thing that even when I talk about when I played, I wanted to hit the first pitch fastball just because I didn't want a pitcher to try to start working on me. So I'm going to go up there looking for the first pitch fastball and try to be as successful as I can. Because on the other end, what a pitcher's told, get ahead. And so you know that might be the best pitch that you get. And the guys have bought into that. We're aggressive early in the count, looking for that fastball. Lay off anything that's spinning or looks funky, and let's go hunt the fastball.
Well, and they'll come after you. You'll get a bit of a reputation if you're not swinging on that first pitch, and the pitcher will come after you to get ahead in the count. Like
sure,
you said.
The guys in the middle of the order, Dyron and Garrett and those guys, they're gonna and Noah, they're gonna see a ball that's spinning. I know I would against them, and so we talk about that. We talk about. If it's a breaking ball early in the count, let it go, because at some point you're going to get that straight one. But you better not miss, because you might not get very many of them.
Well, and we've done a good job of taking the balls as they're delivered and the bases as they rack up from those balls as well. We'll take those all day long.
Our quality at bats, the boys in the dugout, we have what we call the cue chart, and we track every at bat, and we give them a cue. A cue it stands for a quality at bat, and you can even strike out but still have a quality at bat.
Right.
And it's 7 or more pitches, and we chart all that. We talk about to grind. If you get that pitch count up, that's a grind on the opposing pitcher, and if hitting the ball hard, getting a walk, getting hit by a pitch, all those are cues. All those are quality at bats, and the most prideful thing I can say about that is it's something the boys keep. And we keep as a team, and we talk about that. And you'll hear them every so often. That's a cue, and they'll yell it out, and they take pride in putting together a quality at bat.
Well, and they seem to be a pretty close group, and that can really be fed by these close victories.
Absolutely. I at the end of the Georgetown game, something that kind of just jumps out and just. There's memories and there's moments of every season, and especially as the years go by. But when Garrett struck out the last batter in the Georgetown game, and Caden made a great block and threw the ball to first base, and it was very emotional and exciting. But to watch Adam come out, who pitched incredibly great in that game, but to watch Garrett and Adam interact with just sincere excitement for each other and for the team and the result of, it's emotional. It's so exciting, and to see that energy that they have for each other, and success is fun.
It is. It's a whole lot more fun than the alternative. I will agree with you there. And so let's talk about some of the odd things about this year. Maybe not even this season. We can even go back to last season where baseball was canceled. Give us your thoughts on how these guys and the coaching staff have really dealt with, not the specifics, the standards that you follow, that
right.
Not that kind of stuff, but emotionally, have you stayed in contact? Did you have Zoom meetings and those kind of things?
We did early on, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the senior class from last year. I don't know if tragic is too strong a word, but it sure was a sad situation for those guys. And I know these guys have a warm spot for those guys and what they had to deal with and not getting to finish out the season. But that being said, with the COVID and everything, the most difficult thing is the fact that I don't have classroom time with them.
Right.
And that's so weird, because just to make sure that we have, just that all the little things that you cover in the course of a day or a season, what time we're leaving, what times we're going to eat, what time's what time we need to show up, what uniform are we wearing, all the things that you take for granted that you get to talk it out in the classroom. And then also some of the character ed stuff that we go over.
Well, and I was going to say, there are those times that you were probably there to help someone not find themselves in a little bit of trouble,
sure.
while you're in the school building.
This has been a absolutely. This has been a trying time. I think I think we all know. I think
teen mental health is
sure.
probably the biggest issue.
There's no doubt. We're all fathers, right? And we all have children in the school system, and I think that every parent here can relate to some of the mental health things or mental challenges that the kids are going through.
Parents too,
no doubt. And it's real easy to get to fall into that trap of those challenges, because they're real, and we're all having to fight it together and go through it all together. And it's nice to have a team to rely on for sure.
I tell you, when the season started, I was a little nervous that we would be running into similar issues that basketball dealt with. With teams not being able to play, but we haven't really had that problem, and I'm hoping it's the time of the year.
Yeah, well, Coach Cano's getting his second vaccine right now. That's where he's at. So I mean, and Heather had hers today. Her first one, and you're talking about the challenges, and I've had mine and whatnot. Those are all things that we are having to navigate in society and looking out for one another, and that's obviously a very different thing that we're all having to deal with and face for sure.
We miss those touch points.
Well, and
that's right.
The point of that is that it's been exciting to have a what is essentially, at least from my perspective, just coming and doing the district games,
sure,
a normal season.
No doubt. It's almost I'll be real honest. When we started playing games, it was almost like, okay, like my lineup card and everything that I needed to do. I'm like, it's been a while, it's just I got to get back into this swing of some of those things, and it was kind of and like an old friend.
Right. And that's kind of how I felt about it, because I didn't get to do any baseball games at all last season. And, 2 seasons ago, we would do pregame interviews and things like that. Well, I started doing the district games, and I'm not typically superstitious, but when we
Chuck, you don't even look at me before the games. You won't even wave at me.
Well, I don't want to jinx anything. I've been trying to wear the same shirts each time.
Nothing wrong with that.
I don't want to be the contributing factor that maybe. I don't really expect it to happen, so I won't even utter those words.
There you go.
So let's talk a little bit about your seniors. You got some guys that have been in the program for a while that have made commitments, and I'm just going to run down the list of the ones that I know, and if I miss anybody, chime in.
Sure.
Major Maiden committed to Colorado Christian.
That's right.
Garrett is committed to Midwestern State to play football as a quarterback, and we talked a little bit of pre-show, and I'm sure the baseball coach will be in contact with him from Midwestern at some point. And then Noah is entertaining offers from one of my favorite local colleges, Southwestern University, but he's also entertaining McMurray, Western Texas College, and Salem University.
Absolutely.
And a couple of JUCOs. And I believe Adam may be talking to Western Texas, I'm hearing.
Yep.
And then we've got someone committed to Caltech, and
that's Eddie Spear.
Eddie Spear, the best name in baseball.
No doubt.
That's right. We talk about Eddie a lot.
Yeah, we call Eddie Everyday Eddie. You know why we call Eddie Everyday Eddie? Because he comes to work every day, ready to work and do all the things that it takes. Eddie's a special kid for sure, and his academic endeavors. I don't mean to embarrass you, Eddie. I'm sorry. But his academic endeavors, anytime you're ranked 1, 2, or 3 in your class, I mean,
especially at Leander, that is a really tough school to grab the top
for me, you had to start at the bottom and work your way up.
It was easier to count from that direction.
No doubt.
Now wait, Coach. At your high school, how many people were actually in the class?
My graduating class was 67 kids.
There you go.
Oh wow,
67. The competition was fierce.
Well, it can be fierce in those smaller groups.
Bunch of hayseeds.
Yeah.
Bunch of hayseeds down there in Edna, America.
Yeah, but it's okay because you could say I graduated 25th in my class.
Top half. Nothing but the best. That's for sure.
Okay, then we start District over after the game Friday.
Yeah, Saturday.
And so Saturday we just start the gauntlet again with Rouse.
Yes.
And Rouse, no slouch.
Gosh, no. They're a good baseball team.
Give us your thoughts on the second half of the season. You don't have to talk about any games specifically, but just the expectations of the guys.
It's a gauntlet.
Having success in the first half of the season.
Well, I think if anybody comes to our games, I think it's pretty obvious that we've got there's 4 senior pitchers that have pitched in district games up to this point, and they've been pretty. Well, let's face it, they've been pretty dominant. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people you may think or gloss over, like, I don't know if anybody remembers this against Liberty Hill, but when we were down 2-1 in the 7th inning, we bring Harrison in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Bases were loaded at one point.
yeah, and he strikes 2 of them out to end the inning.
Right.
He goes KK, and then we spark and we take the lead. But that was a touch and go situation, and that was big time in that moment as well. And then obviously we've seen the success of Noah and Adam and Garrett on the mound as well. And when you can't play this game unless you can pitch.
Right.
If you can't pitch, you can't. It's hard to play. And we've been really, really good on the mound. And I think that's been, with the way our field sets up, the wind, and it's always kind of that prevailing south wind. And Leander, even going back to the, Michael Reed days and
Right.
all those guys, it was pitch and play defense at Leander.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys we're pitching and playing defense. And then obviously, to talk about the offense is that it's pretty obvious that we can put pressure on people with our offensive end of the game, and our pitching is going to keep us in the game. So, 3, 4, 5 runs.
Right. It forces desperate decisions by
No
the
doubt.
other team.
And it's nice to be able to have that pitching that allows our offense a little bit of breathing room.
Well, and there's been plenty of defense behind the pitching,
Sure.
minus the first 2 games in district,
Sure.
which we had some errors in. But I've seen nothing but solid play really since that third game.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think that we've worked on that. We've talked about it. We've put in a lot of time on that. Done some different drills and some different things that we've addressed in practice, and that's I think that's been a big positive. You asked about the district opponents going into
Right.
the second round. You'll drive yourself, like I said, you'll drive yourself crazy about this team and that team and this team. You really do have to take it one at a time. But you got to remember, we beat Rouse, Georgetown, and Liberty Hill all by 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
So those games can go either way, and they're going to be gunning for us.
Right, for sure.
And I
There's
think
going to be
that-
a big target.
And I think that's going to be something that we'll need to address a little bit. That we're not going to surprise anybody,
Right.
in the second half.
Yeah, they're not going to be sneaking up on anyone. Everyone's well aware that Leander's pitching is solid and that the hits are coming.
Sure,
So,
absolutely.
and mentioning the hitters real quick, and then we'll go to some seniors. You got a few guys, quite a few, hitting over 300,
Yep.
and even a couple more hitting over 500.
Yeah, the pressure that we're putting on people with the bat and guys just really have gotten hot too. Andrew Ventello at the top of the order, setting it up, and then, I think Alex in the 2 holes been, I think he had 3 hits against Glenn the other night.
Yes.
Noah had 3. I'll tell you this: some of the thump that we have in the middle of the order has just been a difference maker.
It's solid.
Garrett and Dyron and those guys in the middle of the order, and then Caden Sisson's gotten hot too, and JJ seems to always kind of create havoc at the bottom of the order too. So you want to have those two, like another leadoff guy in that 9 hole, and JJ's done a good
done
job.
well.
Yeah, he has. He had a big hit against Rouse that I can remember. I'm sure there's others, but
Right.
that's one that jumps out that I
Yeah.
remember.
It was a clutch one.
No doubt.
So there was a recent tweet. I think it was Jeff Ruin that tweeted out that we haven't been at full strength, but going into the second half of the season, we're now at full strength.
Yeah, I mean, we're battling a couple injuries and just a couple of things here and there, but I think that we just keep getting healthy and keep working at it and keep it's going to be nice to have all the bullets in the gun. And
I was going to say you already have a pretty deep bench right now.
Oh yeah, I think that with those options and that's the thing that we have is options.
Right.
We've made some we have base runners.
Right,
and
Wheatley, but
can
then he
run.
comes in and gets a hit against Glenn.
Sure, and then we have some decent guys that will come in and play some defense, and then you got a little thump off the bench with some guys, and I think we're getting to the point where we can mix match some things, and that's always nice to have a couple of different
Right.
options.
You've had some really good execution in almost all facets of the game.
We have. I think the guys will tell you that one thing that we kind of bopped them over the head with, not literally, but was bunting early on in the season, early on and when before the season started, we talked a lot about. I mean, we played bunt games. We bunted off the machine.
I've seen some of the best bunts that I've seen this year.
Yeah, and we really harped on that big time about getting our bunts down and really focusing on giving yourself up for the next base, and the guys have completely and totally bought into that. If y'all think back against Glenn the other night, runners at first and second, and Garrett lays down your four-holder laying down the bunt.
Beautiful
and then I think we went on to score 3 or 4 runs.
Pulled the pitcher. He came charging, and where Garrett placed it, he didn't have a chance of making a throw.
We call that bunting it into the bubble, right, boys? Right? We know that third baseman is going to stay back in that situation, and we want to try to put pressure on that third baseman and bunt it towards him and see what he's going to do. And he executed it really well. And it helps Garrett place third. He knows that's a tough play.
Well, and it forces a lot of decisions, which can be bad decisions by your opponent when you do things like that.
People, the thing about just listen to a baseball game, right? When you just go and listen, and anytime the ball's hit, the stands will roar because the ball's in play.
Right.
Right? And the more you can put, I mean, it's simple stuff, I know, but the more you can put the ball in play, you're putting pressure on them. And I think that our strikeout rate is really low. I need to go back and look at that. But, I think we're only striking out 3, 4, 5 times a game.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot that I can think of.
The quality of bats have been, like you've already stated, phenomenal. Me and Chuck have commented many times on how
even guys that go down 0-2 will end up going full and then end up with another 2 or 3 fouled off,
and that's pressure.
Or hit one in
that is pressure, and that also ramps up the pitch count, which is something that we talk a lot about too. Try to get in their bullpen, and we get in their bullpen, good things can happen for sure.
Well, it's usually 1 or 2 starters for each team that are pretty.
There's a reason why that guy's starting, that other guy's probably not. So yeah, for sure.
Okay, Coach, so we're going to talk to a few of those seniors. I think we had a couple of volunteers. We'll start with Harrison Madden, I guess.
Or the chairman of the board, Harrison Madden.
Harrison Madden,
yes.
Okay. And then we'll come follow him with the Polish Power.
The Polish Power, those are 2 good ones for sure. Just don't ask Harrison.
And then we'll probably bring Eddie up here because he is my favorite name in the sport of baseball.
We always joke that Harrison is the chairman of the board, that he'll be our CPA someday, and but we'll all work for Eddie for sure.
He's getting a business degree. That's what he's working on.
Thanks, guys, and go Lions, baby.
Go Lions.
Go Lions.
Keep it up, Coach. So we're going to welcome now Harrison Madden. He is a senior lefty for the Lions. You'll come up in a minute.
Right here, Harrison.
It would be fun, but we don't have enough headsets. Okay, Harrison. Give us your thoughts on the season so far. Having missed district play your junior year, and having to deal with all of the rules and regulations that you're dealing with that are outside of baseball. Give us your thoughts.
I'd say we're doing a good job. From the beginning of the season, Coach told us we're not just here to make playoffs, but we're here to, make waves, go first in district. So I think we've taken that in stride, and we're doing that right now.
Well, and there's only one team ahead of you at almost the midway point, and it's probably one of the more hated teams that Leander faces. We won't even mention their name. But it's not just them in this district. I mean, you've already faced, including them, you faced 3 teams that were at the time ranked in the top 10. You came out with 2 wins out of those 3. Did you guys just go in with that kind of confidence, like, who cares? Or, was it?
I'd say the first game of the season against Rouse, we were all like, I think if we win this game, it's going to kind of push us. So that first game kind of set the tone, and after that, we just kind of kept rolling.
Well, and we talked to Coach a little bit about it. We've noticed from our perch, we're not around you guys all the time, but y'all seem to be a pretty tight club from, top to bottom. Give us your thoughts on first your senior teammates and then those other guys that are on the club.
I think we all love each other. Through the off season, we all work. We all run on the track, throw up on the track together. Couple early morning runs, that'll really get you tight quickly. And just throughout COVID and everything, that really, helped us come together.
Well, and, it's these kinds of things that life throws at you that you can you learn from, and it toughens you up a little bit. And really kind of forces you to grow up. And the fact that you're a senior, that's kind of, it's time, right?
Yes, sir. I agree. 100%.
So what are your plans after high school?
So I'm attending Texas Tech, and I plan on majoring in energy commerce.
Energy commerce. So are you going to be in the oil business, or are you going to look at something else?
I've been looking at oil or gas trading, or maybe going into like solar. Kind of those two are interesting to me.
Well, that area's,
Yes, sir.
it has both, so you can work with either one.
Renewable energy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, if you can be the one that comes up with the solution to make it work better than fossil fuels, then
Hey, that's the goal.
You'll be the man with the cash for sure at the very
That's
least.
exactly right. Well, when you came in the other night and pitched in that Liberty Hill game, that was pretty phenomenal.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And, you showed a lot of grit coming in a very difficult situation. But that says something about you, and so I feel pretty confident you're going to do well at Tech. Unfortunately, I'm an Aggie, so, that's one of those things. But
Hey, as long as you're not from Texas, I don't mind.
Hey,
Got you there.
there you go.
I'll just not make a comment then. I'm actually from Waco, though, which is even worse because, there's Baylor there. So.
Hey, I don't. If it doesn't say UT, I'm okay with it.
Then
I'm
you're
okay with it.
with it. Well, Tech and Baylor don't get along very well. I don't know if you saw some football games in the 90s, but they almost had to stop allowing fans to the.
Yep, the Cotton Bowl. I've been to a few of those. They get rowdy.
Tech is a beautiful campus.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
you'll do well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm always excited to hear where players are going to go and, what they're going to do in college and beyond. Are you going to, continue to try to play sport? I mean, even in an intramural setting, or
I think
you're going to be the wiffle ball guy? Or because I bet you can throw some wicked wiffle ball pitches, man.
Oh, yeah. I 100% agree. Slow pitch softball, probably home run leader. I just like competing, so I will most likely go out there and do something. Yes,
Well,
sir.
that's the thing. When I was in college, you just can't resist it because you spend your entire youth sacrificing a lot of your time for a sport or a couple of sports even, and you can't just cut that off. At the very least, you're gonna have to pick up a basketball, and get the guys, and get out there and stay in shape. Otherwise, you end up like this.
Yeah, Adam over there will tell you I'm an absolute hooper. Broke his ankles a couple times. He had to get new shoes.
So you got the handles, huh? Well, I also like to embarrass our guests and just ask that question. Are you single, or are you?
I am single. Yes,
You
sir.
are single. So are you in the market, or are you just not in a hurry?
I would say I'm off the market.
Off the market.
I would say I do not have a stock right now.
no market.
Oh,
No market.
I'd probably have to disagree, and there's probably other people that might, but.
Married to the game.
Well, I
Coach
mean,
Connor
you
tells
come
us.
in and you pitch like you did, as Martin mentions in Liberty Hill. Suddenly, you start getting fans. So, you
you probably already had fans.
Right.
But
So he's not that embarrassed. He's a little
He's
bit
not.
red, but
Yeah.
you can't
No,
tell
no.
because of the
I'm
flag.
flattered.
There you go. Well, and I've kind of watched your athletic career from a little bit in the stands. Even from middle school. You played football for a while,
Yes, sir.
and you got into high school and you decided that baseball is what you want.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I've enjoyed being the PA for the games that you've participated in and broadcasting these games. And this team this year, it's a little special. So, make sure you, as a senior, keep leading these guys, both on the field, but mostly, verbally and in that support that you expressed about them earlier.
Yes, sir. 100%. Thank you, and thank y'all for everything y'all do, broadcasting and just stuff like this. We appreciate that.
So
too.
you're the chairman of the board. That'll be now your nickname whenever you come into the game.
Chairman of the board, CPA, cutie pie. I mean, they call me all of it.
Cutie pie.
Yeah.
okay, wait a minute. Cutie pie.
And he said
then
he's
you're
off the market. I think that is just straight
No,
humility.
that's just straight
right
from
there.
Noah. That's from Noah.
Well, you can't trust Noah. Come on.
Come on.
Your buddies aren't going to tell you the truth, not in a situation like
He
that.
has the biggest smile on his face when he says it, so I believe him.
Right, okay. Well, we're going to bring up your buddy next, and I'll let you go back and enjoy the rest of the evening. Appreciate you coming
Yes,
up,
sir.
Harrison.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
well,
you
good
very
rest of the
much.
Appreciate it.
season.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And next up will be Adam Alexis, the Polish Power. I'm a big Ivan Putski fan.
Oh,
so,
me too.
you know.
Houston All-Star Wrestling.
Southwest
I know that
Championship.
Matt knows what that is, right, Coach?
Lots of good times on Saturday night watching some of that.
Okay. Do
Sorry.
you have a nickname too?
Polish Prince.
No, Coach. That's
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What?
What would you?
Am I missing something?
I'm not sure either.
Polish Prince. That's pretty much what nickname is.
Well, I like to call you the Polish Power, but that's because I'm
got that one sophomore year.
an Ivan Putski fan. And the reason, obviously you have Polish blood, and you also speak a little Pole. Is that right?
Yes, sir, I do.
And you use that sometimes liberally in the dugout and sometimes conservatively, depending on what's going on?
Occasionally, depending on the situation.
Well, I want to ask you some similar questions of what we asked Harrison. First of all, missing your junior year because of the COVID pandemic, but you also had another issue going on, right? Were you injured last year?
I was injured in the off season last year.
In the off season, okay.
I got back. I had an ankle surgery in September of my junior year, and I had just gotten back around January. Got cleared, and so it was tough. I rehabbed all off season
Rehab
to
is
get back.
so hard. I've had surgeries as well, and oftentimes it's just you or the only person to motivate you for that rehab.
Yeah.
And, in my case, it was a knee, and, you'd have to do 500 leg lifts on one leg and then 500 on the other, and I'm, 1, 2, 10, 12, like that. And I think I'm paying for it later in life. There's a reason they tell you to do that many, and you should do it. So,
Yeah.
But it sounds like you came back pretty strong. I mean, had a really great outing the other night. Racked up a lot of strikeouts at Glenn. How does it feel up on the mound when you're mowing guys down like that? And they're swinging away, but they just way early, way late, or just
Yeah, I mean, it feels
straight
great.
whiffs?
It feels great. Great confidence boost. It feels great getting the team a chance, not allowing too many runs, getting the batters a couple runs across the board, and hopefully should do the trick most times.
Well, and you get a lot of support defensively, and there was a lot of support in that Glenn game. Otherwise, the game would have been closer. Talk about your defense a little bit, and any particular guys that sometimes maybe come pick you up if you're struggling.
Yeah.
Some of them infielders or whatever.
Yeah, the defense has been great. Sisson's done a great job behind the plate, stopping everything. Georgetown game, he had a bunch of blocks, throwing guys out too. That helps a lot. Walk a guy or guy gets on, having that guy to be able to race it for you.
And as a pitcher, you don't want to get balls past the catcher, obviously,
not at all.
and that's not the intent. But sometimes when you're throwing some of that junk that you throw, it's you're not for sure where it's going to end up.
Yes, sir.
And you've been doing a very good job of painting the corners, and that really helps when your catcher's there to help bring it in and frame it.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
convinced you'd have probably 50% more strikeouts if the umpires were consistent. And I'm not even saying that they had to change their strike zone, but just be more consistent with
Yes,
it.
sir. I agree.
Which is probably not easy. It's probably just as tough to see that pitch for the umpire, maybe tougher because they're usually old guys.
Yes,
but then the guy that's actually at the plate swinging away. So, okay, we had mentioned that you've had some interest in college. You want to talk a little bit about your recruiting experience?
Yes, sir. I have a few junior colleges I've been talking to, as well as a couple of D3s too. And I'm just trying to decide what the best fit's going to be for me, whether that's playing baseball in college somewhere or that's just going to college and being a regular guy.
Well, and that is a decision to make, because honestly, if you're going to be a college athlete, you're looking at 2 full-time jobs. You have your school, and then you have your sport, and then you have to have 8 hours to sleep, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're eliminating a lot of social activity. And so while I always encourage people to participate, because I would have wanted to had I had the talent, I understand that when kids decide that they're just done.
Yes, sir.
But as I mentioned with Harrison, it's not so easy to let go of.
No.
And in fact, you'll find that decades later you'll miss it. I can't even tell you. Every spring, the first time I smelled that fresh cut grass, I'm like, oh, two-a-days. And I don't miss two-a-days in football practice, but I miss knowing that the season's starting, even 30 years later. So, if you can, try to stay active in the sport in some way. Even if you're just a guy that goes to a few games here and there and root on the local team, that just you'll get some joy out of that.
Absolutely. So. Do you have any idea what you want to try and consider doing as you move into college?
I want to study business, finance in particular.
They always need people that know numbers. Always.
And do you do well in your math classes and your accounting classes? Because that is a field that if you're adept at it, you can be very, very successful financially. So, and that leads to all kinds of opportunities. So, all right. So you're considering a couple of JUCOs and a couple of D3s. What D3s are you considering?
Centenary. And then I have a few. One from Brooklyn, Crown College, as well as a school near St. Louis, and then
So have you been speaking to them, or are they just sending you letters?
They've offered me.
They've offered you?
Yes, sir.
And so you just haven't made your decision whether you even want to do that at this point?
No, sir. I think what I would really want to do is try to go to a junior college and try to play baseball if that's where.
Well, I went to a couple of junior colleges before I got my bachelor's degree. MCC in Waco has a pretty good baseball team usually.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how they've been in the last couple of decades, but they had a pipeline going to Arizona State for a little while, and those guys were going to the major leagues as well. So, that's close too. I'm sure your parents would like that. So, well, that's awesome. Let's embarrass you now. Are you a single man? Or are you dating?
I have a girlfriend.
You have a girlfriend? Does she go to Leander as well?
Yes, sir.
Is she going to go to a college near you, or are you going to struggle with? Okay. So maybe and maybe not. I guess it depends on which junior college offers, right?
Yes, sir.
So maybe if Blinn offers, you might consider that, right?
Maybe.
So, well, there's an Aggie for you.
That's right.
Actually, Leander has quite a few graduates that attend A&M year in and year out. That, to me, it seems like it's the biggest school every year.
They do a very
UT's
good
close,
job.
But okay. Well, when's your next start? You don't know?
I don't know.
It might be Friday, might be Saturday. That somebody might be watching, so we can't tell. Well, that's an understandable response, and I never know either until the a few minutes before the game.
Same.
So I have to run down and get a lineup card from somebody. So I've actually to go back a couple of years, we were, I believe it was Lake Travis. We were at Lake Travis to play a district game, and it was during Mason's time here in Montgomery, and the Lake Travis coach would not give me his lineup card until Coach Grissom turned his over, because he wanted to see who he was starting. If he was going to start Mason, then that coach was going to start a different pitcher than who he wanted, I think. And I think that's ended up what happened. I think it was a 1-0 game. It was a one-hitter on both sides, I think. So, but those are memories, and we're going to have a lot of good ones and have so far from the first half of this season. We want you to keep it up, and as I said to Harrison, as a senior, it's your job to keep these guys motivated and to push through this second half of district play. It would be great to have a similar run in the second half of district, but even if there are some bumps, you just got to fight through. So.
Yes, sir.
And you'll be making memories for a lifetime.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
It's amazing what you can remember, details of games and stuff. So 30 years later, you'll be thinking about it. So I'm really excited for you. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
And so I guess we'll bring up Eddie Spear, and then we'll wrap it up.
Good job.
So welcome, everyone. Senior Eddie Spear, Cal Tech commit. And number 2, maybe 3 in your class right now?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where I am right now.
Is it going to be a neck-and-neck race down the end?
It's
so
very
you
close.
may end up at 1?
No, my girlfriend, who's number 1, is pretty
Wait.
much got it at this point. But it's a close race between myself and another kid for 2 or 3. So we'll see how that shakes out.
So that you are going to be this power intellectual couple. Then,
There's always jokes because everyone kind of expects that relationship between, those really close top of the class kids to be like super contentious.
Right, and they're normally competitive and a little bit talking behind each other's back. I can't believe they got that grade, and they can't believe they took that class. It's
she
so
cheated
easy.
on this. Yeah.
So, obviously you're used to competition then, academically on the baseball field. You probably, I don't know if you listen to the broadcast or not, but Martin and I probably mentioned it to Mark, I really love your name as a baseball player.
I've heard that a little bit.
Because, it just reminds me of old time when I'm a kid, looking back at the history of baseball. It would look like a card that came out of a tobacco pack and not a pack of gum age era, like it would be worth some money. And so I just love calling, Eddie Spear when he comes up to the plate.
He does, and then when you make a play, when you're throwing that ball
better.
in and get the guy out at second base, right? You just live up to it.
Yeah, that was a heck of a throw there at the Glenn game. Do you remember that? What? Do you get insulted when guys challenge you like that and they round first? Like
especially if they're going to be slow.
So you look at that guy, you pause for a second, like unbelievable, and then you fire him out.
Well, the funny thing was I couldn't even get a grip on that ball in particular. I reached for it. I ended up throwing it with like 3 fingers, and he shouldn't have gone. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was a great throw, a good tag as well, and those are the kind of plays in the middle of the game that really can steal momentum or drive the momentum that you already have. And so, baseball is a little unique. You have one-on-one matchups in other sports and basketball, but really the pitcher-hitter relationship is very unique. This one-on-one, me versus you. Now, granted, the pitcher gets to rely on his defense, but what does it feel like going up the plate when there's games on the line? Because most of our games have been tied. So you go up and you have an opportunity to drive a run in, or maybe you've started at least 1 or 2 out rallies with a base hit. Describe that feeling.
It's really all about the team in that moment. There's no aspect of I'm going to come up here and be a superstar right now. It's like, this is what my team needs right now. We need this hit. We need to get this run across the plate. We need to keep this momentum going. And so, falling in line in the order right at that moment, it's sort of a step of, okay, it's my turn. Those guys are relying on me. I rely on them to get stuff going. I rely on our pitching. Now they're relying on me to come out here and get this hit.
The underclassmen that are going to really continue what you guys the tone you're setting this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we have guys with varying levels of varsity experience as seniors, and I think that guys who have been around on the varsity longer have helped sort of move the rest of us in, get us ready to go with the short season last year, because we have guys playing this year who, as seniors, who didn't get to play in a district ball game last year. And so knowing that routine, guys like Adam, Harrison, who have been there before, helping to bring us up and know what the expectation is for that district varsity baseball game, that's just a really fantastic job that they've done with that. And then, the juniors, too, have really stepped up, because even the ones that were on varsity last year as sophomores, they didn't get to play any district games.
Right.
But they have very mature approaches at the plate. They're good defensively, great teammates, and so I think that's really something that, as you pointed out, is really helping us out this year.
Well, to shift away from the baseball field to your education beyond high school, you're obviously going to continue your athletic career as well at one of the better technical schools in the country, right? Talk about Caltech a little bit.
For sure, yeah. I'm super excited to go there. The level of academic rigor that Caltech has to offer, once I got in there, the acceptance rate was crazy low. It was like 3% this year. Once I got in, I for sure knew I was going there. They have ownership and management of the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory,
Oh, wow.
where you can intern and work as,
That would
as
be
an
awesome.
undergraduate student. Yeah, no, it's legitimate, and the class schedule, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really hard, but I'm just so excited for, to be honest with you, the math and physics I'm going to learn.
Well, and if that's something that excites you, then as we mentioned, when you play athletics in college, you basically have two jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're excited about both of those jobs, you're not really working, right? You're just learning, and you're enjoying the sport of baseball. So, well, let's embarrass you now. You're obviously already admitted you have a girlfriend and that she's smarter than you.
Okay. I don't, man,
Where is she going to go?
she played the game a little better than me. She's not actually sure where she's going yet, so she's kind of it's a cliffhanger.
Well, Eddie, have you ever thought about coaching?
I have thought about it. I think it's a good possibility that I'll find coaching as a summer job in between places. Especially, I've already had the offer to come coach summer teams for my outside of school coach.
Right.
So yeah, no, for sure. I think coaching is something I'd be interested in, especially because as someone who enjoys academics so much, the mental part of the baseball game is just really appealing.
Well, it's very analytical, and you have that type of mind, and so you could be successful at rocket science or baseball. So, and you can do both, and that's exactly right. And as I mentioned to Adam, you want to stay involved in some way, even if it's just as an active fan, because you will find that while you get to play college ball, that's going to end at some point, and maybe you play professionally, maybe you don't. It doesn't. At some point it ends, and you'll always miss it. And the amazing thing about being a senior in high school is you don't realize it. People tell you don't realize the finality of it. You get to fortunately continue on and play in college, but there are others that may not. And, those are guys you're going to want to support down the road and stay close to them and stuff. And stay active in baseball. If that's your main sport, then stay with that. But
for sure.
If you ever get to go to the moon or the Mars, the moon or Mars, then I want to know. The Mars,
The
right?
Mars.
It is the only one. So. At least around here. So, well, we're probably running out of light here on the camera, and we ran pretty long. Eddie, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'll continue to cheer for you.
Thank you.
And come on, Coach, you want to wrap it up for us? Real quick, let's everybody give another round of applause for Guaco Taco for hosting us.
Absolutely. If I may, Chuck, just
Yes,
real quick,
sir.
I want to take a second and just speak a little bit more about the seniors, just for 1 sec, about how proud I am of their leadership and their determination and their patience, but also their ability to persevere. We talk about courage and perseverance. It's on the line code, and those guys have really bought into that. The juniors have done a great job of allowing themselves to absorb and learn.
It's a learning time.
And take it all in as well. And I'm proud of them as well, for sure. I want to thank the Booster Club for putting this together, Mr. and Mrs. Ruin, and Frank Flores, the vice president, and Tina Dunbar and Justina. Thank you all for everything.
Let's give them a round of
Absolutely.
applause.
Got boys.
Too. The Booster Club,
Booster Club.
pay for the broadcast, all of that.
I think there's a lot of work, time, and effort that goes into this, and that cannot go. I know Martin knows. I know Chuck. I know
Yes.
you know. I know, and I know that it takes a lot of effort. And the last thing is I want to thank you guys very much for doing this, and y'all are taking time out of your evening away from your families to come support. And I know that you three men are huge supporters of Leander Lions athletics,
Sir.
boys, girls, and just about everything that comes from our school on the athletic front, and really just
Just generally.
in general, academics, fine arts, all of it, and we appreciate y'all very much. It's special.
Well, and I mentioned it to all the senior guys. It's really important to stay active because you get into becoming a parent or just an adult, and sometimes you lose those connections.
Sure.
And there's real connections in community, and what better place than in schools that are producing the next generation of our leaders. I mean,
No doubt.
I mean, Eddie Spear, an impressive kid up here just moments
Unbelievable.
ago.
Yep,
So-
great kids, and I'm just so proud of them for sure. And we're just see if we can't keep this train rolling and win some more baseball games.
I hope so, Coach. Go
Thanks,
Lions.
Go Lions. We appreciate
One game
you guys.
at a time.
One at a time.